I swear, if I look tired in this video, I am. I turned in about 25 something assignments for school because I had so we do online school, and it was very difficult to sign in for the first 2 weeks. It was a lot of figuring it out, and I was having so many issues. I kept missing classes. So I had about 25 assignments for each class, maybe more, that I needed to turn in. And I was just making them up day by day. And a lot of them were due tonight, due Tuesday. And, I see some of those teachers tomorrow. So if I want, so I don't want to be thrown upon more work when I see that teacher literally the next day. So there's a lot of that type of stuff. And I was very yeah. So it was very stressful. And so, I didn't get to watching Jurassic World like I intended, or a lot of things that I intended to watch. I didn't get to them. That's just the name of the game. But I did watch some actual movies that I wanted to watch because because Jurassic World is something I didn't want to watch, so I wasn't gonna turn it on. And while I'm doing schoolwork, I want something nice that I actually want to watch in the background, not something that pisses me off, if you know what I mean. So I apologize. That review hopefully will get done tomorrow. Not sure, but let's talk about first. So I don't have it pulled up on my TV, but I did watch King of the Hill, more of the show. I've been slowly rewatching it still. I've been doing this, by the way, for over a year. This show is so slice of life, and it's very difficult to binge. So I just watch a few episodes a night, every single night, and I got to, I think, episode 10 last night. That's it. Episode 10 of season 7 of 13 seasons. So, I'm more than halfway through at this point, pretty much. Through that season, well, about halfway through the entirety of that season. But, in terms of, through the show, I'm about halfway, something like that. I have 6 more seasons. That's about halfway through the show. And so, I'm getting there. I'm trying to have it done pretty quickly. Don't know if that will happen. It isn't like Futurama, where they have a very short number of episodes each season, so it's 13 episodes, and it's a very funny show, so it's really fun to watch. So you just turn on a bunch of episodes at once. No, it's not like that. King of the Hill is not always fun to watch. Sometimes it's downright uncomfortable to watch. There's a lot of unlikable characters in that show. And that's a good thing. I don't mean that as a bad way, because the bad characters, you're not supposed to like them. There's supposed to be a message through that story, but it just sometimes makes you go, oh, I don't like this guy. I don't like watching him. It makes you a little uncomfortable at times. And that's the intent of it, but just doesn't make it a very pleasant show to watch all the time as a viewer. Let's talk about this movie I watched, The Martian. I didn't watch the theatrical cut. I watched the extended cut, which it's about 10 minutes longer. I really couldn't tell you anything different from the first time I watched it. And maybe that's just because... Okay, well, I never watched the extended cut, but from the theatrical cut. And maybe that's because it's been a really long time since I've seen the theatrical cut, and I've never owned this movie or watched this movie before. But it was fantastic. This is a great movie. It was fun revisiting it. It was really entertaining to revisit it. It's a Ridley Scott film. He directed Alien, Blade Runner, stuff like that. Fantastic director. I've never actually seen Blade Runner though, so. But I've seen Alien, some of his other sci-fi movies. And so, it's a really well-directed movie. It's got amazing cinematography. It's a beautiful-looking movie. It's really well shot. Matt Damon is incredible in this movie. Him being stranded alone on this island, or not island. I'm thinking of a Castaway, right? But it's on Mars by himself. you think that would get boring, but I think a lot of it comes down to his performance and how he delivers certain lines. And he's very funny, he's very charismatic. You want him to succeed. You're always interested in what he's doing, you know. And you know, it's interesting because this movie was really successful when it came out. And if you if you really think about it, this movie should not have been as successful as it was. Not because, oh my gosh, it's a horrible movie or anything. Because this isn't, it would be successful indie-wise, not like as a big blockbuster movie. Because this isn't the type of film that a general audience would like to see. One man stranded by himself. It's very unique. It's very interesting. It would be a movie that a lot of audiences would go, yeah, that's freaking boring. I don't want to watch that. Why? What is this? But it manages to constantly be entertaining and engaging. And I think it's amazing that a film like this was successful with the general audience. Because the general audience, not to be mean, but they're dumb. They're stupid. Like they go to the movies to have fun. They don't want to think about things. Which, you know, most of them are just your average person who they don't go to the movies that often. They go to movies just to have fun. You know, it's like a thing they do for fun. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But they do that to have fun, enjoy themselves, kick back, you know. And so they don't want to think or be challenged by anything they're watching. And so that's why the mainstream stuff that's really successful is the Disney garbage, right? Because it's very safe. It's very cookie cutter. It's very bland. But to them, it's really entertaining. It's a brand they know. They look at that and go, yeah, I want to see that. They trust that. They trust it's going to be good because of the Disney brand, you know. So that's why a lot of the bad stuff that is really successful is by Disney, but it's really successful because it's by Disney. And that's a thing that happens, of course. And so that's a big thing. So like a movie like this being as successful as it was is a miracle, and I really employ more directors to do things like this, because, you know, these aren't films that would work with an audience, but you can make them work and make them connect with an audience, because it did. It was really successful. It's a fantastic film. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Let me know what exactly the difference is between the extended cut and the theatrical version, because I have no clue. I'd like to know, but I don't really know. But this was great. I really enjoyed revisiting it, and especially after Apollo 13, which I watched the other day. You know, I watched that movie, which has another one of my favorite directors, Ron Howard. You know, and this, I feel like this was able to actually be more like what it was trying to be than Apollo 13 was. It was good, but just, I don't know. I mean, they're completely different movies, so. So yeah, that was fun revisiting that. And then I watched Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure. And then I also watched The Time of Great Giving, which was Land Before Time 3, of course. So why I watched these both, instead of just, you know, watching Jurassic World like I said it was. I intended to watch one. I was just going to watch The Great Valley Adventure. If you see this here, it's Land Before Time. And then the rest of these are all double features. They have about 2 movies on here. And these are really, really short. The only one that doesn't have 2 movies on it is The Journey of the Brave at the back. But the rest of these are about 2 movies per disc, right? And each movie is about, so The Great Valley Adventure is like 1 hour and 13 minutes. The Time of Great Giving is 1 hour and 11 minutes. And, you know, so, like what? What's that, like 2 hours and 25 minutes for 2 movies, right? Together, right? It's not that long. I'll just watch both of them, and that's what I did. So I have 11 more Land Before Time movies, I think, to watch. Yeah, 11. And these are the ones. So I kind of have this set. I was nostalgic to revisit these, in a sense, because, you know, I did actually watch all these on Netflix when they were on Netflix at one point. I've seen all these movies throughout my childhood and stuff. And, I used to pick up movies at Walmart on DVD. My mom would get them for me, and I'd watch, like, certain movies. I'd get one movie on the $5 bin. Mom, let's check out this. So one of the ones I picked out was The Time of Great Giving. And I think I got The Great Valley Adventure at one point out, too. And I picked out both of those. And I watched those repeatedly. I owned them on DVD. I loved them. I actually had a collection of DVDs back then. I had a lot of DVDs. But now it's like, I have more Blu-rays and 4Ks and actual DVDs, because DVDs, a lot of things that I buy on DVD I could just buy on Blu-ray or in box sets like this. So, but it was fantastic. It was fun, fantastic revisiting these, because I did like them a lot. But I'm just saying, out of the Land Before Time sequels, these are the ones that I remember the most about, and I remember watching the most. Not because, like, I particularly had, I liked them more than the others, I guess. It's just that, they were the ones that were available. Like, I had all of them on DVD. And, of course I had Netflix, but we kind of had Netflix for a while, off and on. And so, it was like, but still, I really liked revisiting them. And the time, the Great Valley Adventure is, so I will say, these are a different, like, animation downgrade. Like, none of these were theatrical. They're all direct-to-video. This one was incredible. This one was a downgrade. But it's, like, not bad. It's not ugly to look at. Have you ever, like, Norma the North is direct-to-video, right? That looks ugly. Nobody wants to watch that, right? Of course, that was released theatrically, but I'm more so talking about the sequels and stuff. So this is a time where direct-to-video movies didn't look horrible. They looked okay. I mean, there were ones that looked horrible, but they weren't the norm. This, it's a downgrade from the theatrical film Land Before Time, but it's not, like, ugly to look at. But these movies also have songs in them, and they're very obviously geared towards little kids, like 5-year-olds. And as a little kid who was like 5, 6, 7, something like that, I ate these things up. I loved them. But, it's like, they're not good, any of them, from memory anyways. Maybe Land Before Time 25 will be great, right? No, there's not even 25 of them. There's 14, but, you get the point. And they're, since they're geared towards kids, they kind of put more songs in them. They kiddied it up more, right? Because the first Land Before Time, it constantly felt like they're in danger, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so it's kind of weird when you jump into this movie from the first movie, where they're almost being eaten, they're almost being, they're constantly afraid, they're constantly scared, running, they're screaming, there's moments where they're crying, which, there's some of that in this movie, but, like, it just doesn't feel the same, because it isn't the same. And also the characters are dumbed down a little bit more, like they act more like a writer writing little kids. They don't act like, the actual kids that they were within the original film. And so that's a thing there. Which was like, it wasn't horrible watching this, but, like, you could just tell that there were some things that were definitely dumbed down. And it was like, and it's kind of like, the Land Before Time 2, especially, you could feel immediately this is different. They find this little baby Chomper, which there he is, little baby Sharp Tooth, as they call him, which, they find him at his egg, and they're trying to hide it from their parents, and they want to go to their parents about it, but then but the main thing about this movie is they get tired of being treated like babies, so they try to act all adult and, like, take care of this child on their own, and that leads to danger, with T-Rexes actually showing up in the valley. For a movie called The Great Valley Adventure, there isn't really a lot of great adventure in this movie. It's pretty uninteresting. And I enjoyed it. Like, I had fun with it. for what it was, but it wasn't like, man, I love this movie. Um, and the songs were pretty bad. And it wasn't very good at all in a lot of areas. It was very yeah, it was just kind of fine. Like, it was generic kids movie, I guess. The second movie, The Time of Great Giving, was, I don't know what I would call this. Like, so this movie is actually kind of insufferable. Like, the first one was fine. This first sequel, anyways. The first sequel was fine. Like, it was kind of like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected if you told me, like, we're going to make a Land Before Time direct-to-video sequel. But it is, like, this is what I expected. Like, that's what I expected. This is not what I expected. There's a drought because of a comet or whatever, and now there's no water, and so it's a lot of the adult characters fighting. So it's actually really funny because I'd say funny, but it's really funny that someone thought this was a good idea for a kids movie, because like it's just angry adults yelling at each other while the kids are kind of in the middle of it. I could imagine like little kids who have like abusive parents like not liking this movie or something, because it's just like it feels a little too real, and it's like, this is a kids movie, right? I don't know a kid that wants to watch adults yell at each other for like an hour and a half. It's not even an hour and a half, but you get the point. Like, is that what I want to watch? No. I don't want to watch adults yell at each other, right? It's very boring. It's very uninteresting. I don't even remember if there were songs. There were some no, there were, but there were some very generic bully characters. So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, that's really all I have to say. That's all I watch. But, yeah, hopefully I get that Jurassic World review out tomorrow.